What is wrong with you? What in the heck were you thinking? Oh, I'm such an idiot. Comes pretty natural, doesn't it? That's called negative self-talk. So the question is, what's better, positive thinking or removing negative thinking or negative thought? In this video, I'm gonna talk about what Russell Wilson does. I'm getting ready to go to a Seahawks game tonight. Pretty stoked right here. Got my Seattle Seahawks, get to go down on the field tonight for the game. That should be pretty cool. But it's pretty interesting because I've had some experiences recently sharing the stage with Heath Evans, who played for the Seattle Seahawks, also played with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots, the undefeated season, and just talking about leadership and winning cultures. And the two winningest cultures in the last 10 years are probably the Seahawks and the New England Patriots. And the question is does Russell Wilson's mindset reverberate throughout the entire team? Does your mindset as a leader, as a father, as a mother, reverberate throughout and affect those around you as well as yourself? I think it does, and science also says the same thing. So check this out. Bill Buckner, he's the infamous first baseman of the Boston Red Sox who let basically there was 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th and let a ground ball roll through his legs to end the World Series, 1986 World Series against New York Mets. And it was made him famous to this day. And it's sadly one of the most remembered plays of all time in Major League Baseball. And I'm gonna play you a little clip of Bill Buckner actually self-prophesizing, him predicting that exact scenario just 12 days before that World Series.
What was to come, a play that would spin their lives in opposite directions, was eerily foreshadowed by Buckner just 12 days before the start of the 1986 World Series.
The dreams are that you're going to have a great series and win, and the nightmares are that you're going to let the winning run score on a ground ball through your legs. So.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that eerie to see him predict exactly what had happened? Your subconscious mind takes in everything. You can't say it. Even if you're joking around, it will still sink in, okay? The Harvard Business Review study by Christine Porath, when you say something negative out loud, it's 7 times more likely to come true. So now you're talking about 10 times 7 is 70. So your internal advertising, what you say out loud, like I did at the beginning of this, like I used to do a lot to myself, which I don't anymore. I catch myself, even when I'm talking to my team. When you say something like that out loud, you are 70 times more likely to have that happen. Trevor Moawad, who's Russell Wilson's mental game performance coach. Russell Wilson, by the way, is the winningest quarterback of all time through his first 7 seasons of all time. And it goes all the way back college, high school. He's just won everywhere he's ever been and made everybody else around him better. That's what gets me excited, is how you can make other people around you better, not just yourself. People aren't talking about this enough, I don't believe, about leaders like Russell Wilson, about leaders like Tom Brady, and coaches like Pete Carroll, coaches like Bill Belichick. They do it in different ways, but they have the same philosophy, similar philosophy. So Trevor Moawad talks about internal advertising. That's our internal voice, our self-talk. And studies show that your internal advertising is 10 times more powerful, has a 10 times greater impact than external advertising, McDonald's, Nike, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, in terms of getting you to do what you want to do or not do what you want to do. And check this out.
Advertising is billions of dollars because it works. Inside, you advertise to Jameson all the time, okay? And your advertising is 10 times more powerful than a television commercial's advertising, or a coach, or a parent, or anybody.
The thing is, this is science. Our thoughts create our reality. Thoughts are things. It's no different than sound. Sound waves are invisible. Well, your thoughts, they go out to the universe. They go out and things happen, okay? There's science. I mean, just take a pendulum and swing a pendulum out there and do some research on what happens when you say something true or say something false. It will move a different direction. For me, it goes this way when I say something true. It goes this way when I say something false. Check it out. My name is Keith. My name is Keith. My name is Keith. That's pretty cool, huh? Okay. My name is Jeff. 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 Had to stop a little bit, had some momentum going the other way. Okay? Now that's set with my body pretty well there, but basically that you might think that's super woo-woo. But the point is there's thousands and thousands of studies show that thoughts are creating reality.
If you were to be around Russell and the music he listens to, he only lets things into his stream of consciousness, his mind state, that are going to help him be the best that he can be.
So we know our thoughts are powerful, right? But the problem is it's hard to just think positive thoughts all the time, especially if you're in a rut and things are happening around you that are frustrating. And I think that Trevor Moawad actually gives a great piece of advice. So he's also worked with Alabama, Nick Saban at Alabama, and tons of other programs. And what they do at Alabama, for example, when they're practicing early in the year and it's about 106 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 41 degrees Celsius, they don't mention the heat, okay? Nobody mentions how hot it is. They don't go onto La La Land and pretend it's 55, 60 degrees Fahrenheit or, 15, 16, 17 degrees Celsius. No, they don't do that. They just remove the negative and they don't let anybody say that. And it makes a huge difference.
You can judge an organization by its language. And if the language has an absence of negativity, and I'm not talking about even an alternative to that, just an absence of it, right? It's 103 degrees, not talking about it, but we're not pretending it's 65 degrees. And if you take that away, I'm telling you, drama, your mind finds the solutions without ever being told to be positive.
And so once you start to become more aware of this, you start to catch yourself, and it's pretty cool. Now, if doing that's even challenging, then what you can also do is what my good buddy here, Todd Herman, wrote the book, Alter Ego Effect, The Power of Secret Identities to Transform Your Life. Amazing book, good friend of mine. He also coaches pro athletes and Olympic athletes all over the world. And what he does is, what you can do is you can basically step into a simple alter ego. And then it makes it easier for you to step into that alter ego of somebody that you admire, a superhero or a person like Abraham Lincoln or something like that, or a combination of superheroes. What happens is then it's easier for your brain to step into that, and there's a lot of science behind it. But basically, the point is that there's ways you can hack these thoughts, because when you have negative thoughts, it messes everything up. Now imagine if Bill Buckner knew this principle back when he was an all-star first baseman and he ended up not being remembered for all the all-star appearances and what a great career he had, but he was remembered for one thing: screwing up the World Series in 1986 for the Boston Red Sox. That's it. And if he would have known this, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Now, a better story to leave you with is another story that Trevor Moawad talks about. And there's a super successful magazine publisher who tells a story about when he was in high school, he was a screw up. He was about ready to get kicked out of school, and he basically decided to take the SAT just because his mom wanted him to. The SAT exams, I had to take those, and you get a score from 0 to 1600 basically. And anything over about 950 or 1000 is a really high score. And he takes the SAT, gets it back, and he scores a 1480 out of 1600.
He promises mom he would take the test. Okay, so he takes the test. He expects nothing, but he takes it for his mom. And he takes it in May, gets a score back in June, and to the surprise of everybody, he gets a 1480 out of 1600. So his mother, as I've shared with you, doing what any mother would do, she said, "Did you cheat?" Right? Because she knows her son and he must have cheated because the score isn't in alignment with who he was. Yeah. Or in psychological terms, it would be called cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. That's like savant genius level. And his mom was in shock. Like, there's no way you must have cheated, and there's no way you could have got that score. And he's like, "No, I actually tried to cheat, but I couldn't see the guy. The guy was too far away from me, and I couldn't. So I took the test." And so she's like, "You're telling me you're that smart?" And he's like, "All I know is I took the test." So next thing you know, what happens? His behavior changes. He starts to think he's smart. And some of the other teachers maybe think, "Hey, maybe we screwed up here." And they start giving him more of a chance. And he starts hanging out with the smart kids instead of the screw ups, or supposedly, right? Ones that are getting him in trouble. And he ends up getting into a junior college. And from there, getting into an Ivy League college, Princeton University, and then having an amazingly successful career. And he tells the story up on stage. And what he says is it's not there. It doesn't end there. What happens is 12 years later, he gets a letter in the mail from Princeton University, telling them that every year they screw up the test results, they accidentally give somebody else's, and he was one of them. He didn't actually score a 1480. He scored a 740. And he says, people want to say that it's the 1480 that changed my life. But he says it wasn't the 1480 that changed my life. It was acting like somebody who gets a 1480 that changed his life. And then it changed his behavior, and he started believing he was a different person. So he would hang out with different people and study more and have higher goals. And it starts to build up and build momentum and snowball. And that's what happens in all areas of life.
People want to say it's the 1480 that changed my life. When in true, acting like a 1480 is what changed my life. And what does a 1480 do? They go to class. Yeah. So,
damn it, that's good.
What it tells people is that your behavior, not your aptitude, defines you. Yeah. And what we think our aptitude is shapes our behavior.
Why do you think the people that come into the Seahawks training camp every year now, they put in more time, they have less negative thoughts, they think more neutral. They talk about neutrality, is what Russell Wilson says, and Trevor Moawad. They try not to get too up or too down when bad stuff or great stuff happens. And all that is reverberating throughout the entire organization. So everybody else starts to think less negatively. No negative thoughts. Like if you're around Russell Wilson, he kicks you out of the room. I was telling my son Kyler this the other day, and I played a clip of Trevor Moawad and was like, if you say anything negative or some kind of negative self-talk, especially if it's out loud, he kicks you out of the room. He's like, you got to have a timeout, because you can't be around people like that, and because it affects you as well.
Like Russell Wilson, like everything. Like if you're negative, you don't live in his life. You don't exist. And even if I'm sideways in my life, he's going to be like, hey man, you need to go to timeout for a while. You can't be around me for a little bit.
Yeah, damn it. Yeah.
And, and I've been put in timeout by him a few times.
Just think about it. Like just be more aware of it. Be more aware of it. Not only self-talk, but of course, anybody else around you and your family members. It makes a big difference. Just remember the number 70. It's 70 times more likely to come true when you say something negative out loud. So let's just keep it positive or keep it neutral. It's easier just to keep it neutral. Like, I'm not asking you to have a bunch of positive fantasy thoughts. I'm just saying keep out the negative. We can do that. If I can do it, you can do it. All right? So let's do this. All right, talk to you soon. Have a great day.